Today it's 22nd of January, and it's Nick's forecast. Talking to you live from the Midwest. Talk over some stuff today. Looking and hunting for deals, the bursting bubble. Also, too, there's an interesting article in Inman News, real estate news, about the real estate agents that are saying there's too many of them. The NRA. Now, Association Realtors say there was 1.6 million, 1.6 million realtors, but that's only ones that are part of that. So in reality, there's probably a lot more than that. So that's probably upwards of 2.5 million realtors, probably, because there's a lot of independents. And some guy wrote this article saying that there's too many agents going for too few deals, but I agree with that. I agree in the blue ocean theory, your own market. So I'm going to have to take issue with that, because in a lot of places they had tons of realtors. Even when I in Seattle doing real estate for years and years and years, tons of real estate agents, and I built my own market. So did my cousin, and we were millions of dollars in real estate. So I don't believe any of that. Your own market and do your own thing. So I don't care if it's residential. I'm in total disagreement of that, because you build your own markets. I don't care where you're at in the United States or the terrorites. You just do it. I mean, there's a guy in the Virgin Islands who's a real estate agent there who does, he makes millions of dollars every year, and he works in the Virgin Islands. Talk about small area, and he still cranks it out. So there's a lot of people that do stuff in those areas. Anyways, I just disagree with that analysis. It was a good article, well written, and I know where he was coming from. I agree with him. Anyway, so on to better stuff here. Because they raised the interest rates, but they didn't go up very much, quarter point. And that's nothing. The rates are still super low, but the bubble's going to burst soon. Bond market's getting totally slimmed. It's going to be like 2008, but I think it's going to be worse. So for a lot of investors on the side, they've got cash. It's going to be pretty cool. Because there's going to be a lot of real estate. And banks are going to wheel and deal, and that's just kind of what's going on. Hold on. Eek. Sorry about that. I was getting a little air, so I had to put something up. Anyways, home office, that kind of thing's kind of happen. Anyways, you'd be surprised how much stuff that one of these days I'll put together a studio. Just I haven't decided when to do it. Anyways, I like being stuff. Anyways, I've had a home office for a long time. So, anyway, Seattle had a home office too, but offices too. So that's cool about being 100% that. We did our own stuff, and we had other business. Anyways, this is all stuff that people don't know about, me and my cousin and all the other stuff we did on the side. So I'm all for side businesses. You can run side businesses. It's the way to go. Anyways, so that being the case, basically the bubble's going to burst again. They keep talking because the bond market's just oversaturated. There's too much debt roaming through, and this time it won't be so much on the mortgage side, but it's going to hit it eventually, because there's a lot of debt and a lot more not subprime, prime, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're letting a lot more of it out, change and stuff. Hold on a minute here. Gosh, stupid thing. Don't you like that? I love doing this stuff. Anyways, too much glare. Anyway, so there's too much debt going on in the bond markets, and also too all the stock market overpriced. I mean, yeah, some of them lost some money. So what? That doesn't mean much. I mean, look at Kohl's. We're looking to buy Kohl's today. Kohl's, a big hedge fund's looking to buy it for $9 billion. And the thing about Kohl's is they've got a lot of good property and so and they lease a lot. So it kind of gives them a good thing to buy, and they're losing money. But a lot of commercial properties that have a lot of commercial property, that's where they're at because they got a lot of equity built in. So it makes it advantageous. But that's going to burst too as the commercial bubbles ready to pop. Apartment buildings like Cordones and a lot of these other billionaires buildings, you own a lot of them. It's always a good thing. And so when you're looking for deals, this is going to be something to look for right now. As the interest rates keep going up, or people are going to start parting away with their properties. And apartment buildings won't be so much houses on the market, which is going to start happening before too long. These hot markets are going to really down. And there's certain areas that start to shift from buyer to seller. Yeah, it's really hot and blah, 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 blah. But it's going to shift over again. Even in Beverly Hills and, in the west side of Los Angeles, all Orange County, into San County, even all the way up I-5 into Portland, Seattle, they've been cooled down, Boise too, and the heel's going to start pulling out. But you remember, a lot of these areas, there are particular areas that sell really well, high end, and they always try to make a big deal about it on TV and the internet and stuff like that, but aren't that way, that are moving slow, aren't moving. The sellers get ticked off with their real estate agents because they're not getting full price. That's just the way it goes. But with it still super low, there's still opportunities out there. Especially if you're a new investor, you're just doing your thing. Remember, you're trying to work deals. So, there's a lot of ways you can finance deals when you're hunting for them. So these are areas to look at. And I was talking about my mail program. And when you go out and you build your own website and you're looking to buy some deals, when you're hunting for apartment buildings or commercial buildings, office buildings, that's what I mean. You're looking for houses in certain areas. And when you're hunting deals, if you're looking for houses, you got to look for been in their houses over 15 years. They have no mortgage or a really low mortgage. You might have a lot of older people in their 60s and 70s, maybe 80s, that you're looking for deals. You might buy them cash. You finance, by the way, too. But you might get them relatively low in the market. You might get 70 cents on the dollar. So you have a big spread. There's no realtors. You just have your attorneys write up the deal, escrow, and just go ahead and do it. So write out, make sure if you send a postcard out, if you're going to do it, have your website, make some kind of unique offer to entice, or you have a dead drop cell phone. Do not use your regular, use another cell phone. Don't use your own phone number. You have to use the 1-800 lines, even better to do it. Have a toll-free line. There's a lot of companies where you can get them. You have to check into it because it varies from area to area of the U.S. Get an 833-844-85 into that, and it ties into your website. And you have a compelling offer. Just go to or if you have a webmaster, have them make one for you. If you're an investor, this is a good way to do things. An investor, you can look for pre-foreclosures, and you can get those listed in the title company. You have to pay for them, but you can take a pretty good area and you send those out. I used to sell postcards out every. That's just one way to do it. So these are ways you can start hunting on that. Also, if people that have passed away, this takes this kind of time to go through and you look for people that passed away in the obituary. That's also a potential way to do it. Also, too, if you estate attorneys, and these I'm talking about for best investors or real estate agents, and you start looking for that because there's so many angles you can hit in real estate. Looking for people, your own neighborhood that want to sell, you might be able to get an undervalue. You take the agent out if you're an investor. Also down the road, it's going to happen because all these gets and it's going to turn the other way. And people running out can't get rid of the houses like in 2008. basically it was total chaos on it. 60 cents on the 60 cents a dollar. They couldn't get rid of their houses. Cash. You got a lot of agents. I know because I dealt with one agent at one company at a house that I was in for a little bit because I was going through some transition. I got slammed really hard in 2008, and the house went into foreclosure and this and that. Freaking house. So this is just one house that had closure and went down. This and this and that. Had some stuff in there that was mine because I paid for it. Some of the refrigerators and stoves and all that were all, expensive high-end stuff. I paid for it, owned it. I took it and put it out in their house. And so the bank took it back. I lived there for a while. I got nailed so bad I didn't have enough cash so I just let it go. But this agent, the cops on me for taking the stuff. And I said, you want to play that game? Okay. So I went and filed a complaint with the state. And I nailed her hard. She tried state and they did an investigation. And she got totally caught. And they threatened to pull her license or suspend her for a year. So, I've been through that game. And so it gets real crazy like that. It's going to happen again. It's going to be, I think, a little worse than the 2008. You're going to have some agents that are going to try to do so. I already know all the laws and everything else like that. That's kind of the deal. This agent worked for a big franchise company, knew everything, didn't know squat. The only thing is I lost like $6 million in a week. So I don't want to hear any stuff about how people don't have this and this and that and da-da-da-da-da. I took a major meow. I'll be the first to admit it. So what I'm saying to you is when you're looking for deals and as the bubble bursts, these will be opportunities to nail it now. We were trying to get it and sell the house off to this one cat. We just couldn't make it work. It just didn't work out. No big deal. So I stayed in there for a while, did my thing, then I bounced. See ya. Okay, done. This is tough stuff, and I had some of the house remodeled. I just let it go. But when you lose that much money in a week, because I got cleaned up. So I've been by film a few times. So that's what I'm telling you. There are going to be deals if you guys got cash or you guys can get the financing. Thing is, when the bubble bursts, it's going to be more of a cash game than financing because they're going to finance it, even though 90% plus more. 90% of the mortgages right now, over 90, maybe 94%, are government backed. But because a lot of these banks are going to take it, even the feds are only going to cover 20% of the loan, so they're still going to eat it. So there's still going to be opportunities to get. Also, too, the Fannie Mae. You guys need to start looking on that if you're an investor. And if you're a real estate, if you've been a real estate agent for a while, like over 5 years or whatever, broker's license, which I would tell you to get a broker's license. You may not want it, but if you can get, I'm just saying that's a suggestion. You can get your associate broker. But otherwise, you don't need to. It doesn't matter. But find out some banks in the area, big mortgage companies, especially the banks. You want to get on the list to see if you can list properties that are in foreclosure. And the pre-foreclosure. And there's a lot of steps to it, but you're good to go. This guy in Seattle who's a real estate agent. He was an independent company. I think he's retired now. He still may be a business. I haven't really, a couple years ago, he's still in business. But I don't know if he's retired. He's in his 70s now. But he banks, and all he did was pre-foreclosure, basically foreclosed properties. And at the height of it, 2008-9, he was doing 100 deals a year, just doing bank owned, and the average between 10 deals a year just run foreclosed bank stuff. So what I'm saying to you, there are markets out there. That's why I disagree with the other out there. And that's what I'm saying to you, as a real estate agent, you need to start getting on bank little pre-foreclosure up when the bursting bubble comes again. Then you got another source of income. You can really kill it. Also, if you're a real estate agent, look at look at the FA. If you're an investor, that's another good one besides their list that you can get to online. I would start going through them, especially for apartment buildings. Basically, tax sales, which are going to come up here pretty soon. I remember in Indianapolis, the last few averaging about 28 pages of properties, and a lot of those are apartment buildings and commercial buildings. A lot of apartment buildings. Same in St. Louis, Kansas City, Nashville, Chicago, pretty gnarly, all the way through South Oklahoma, same place, Tulsa, a lot of places in Texas, a lot of cities around there, counties. I mean, I'm just giving you Dallas, Plano, up where Texas Tech's at, San Antonio, El Paso, an hour away, Dallas, Fort Worth, Fort Worth's an hour away. There's still a lot of stuff down in Austin area. You go out further, there's a lot of stuff. I'm saying there's a lot of properties out there you can snag. So there's a lot of apartment buildings on those tax lists. That's saying looking for deals you're hunting for. So there's a lot of opportunity out there as an investor and a real estate agent. Mortgage broker, not as much but mortgage brokers are going to get slammed again pretty hard. When the bursting bubble, a lot of the mortgage brokerage companies are only less than 10 people. And that's just, they try to keep the overhead low. That's how it is. I mean, yeah, you have Rocket Mortgage, which is in, it's in somewhere in Ohio, Cincinnati, I think. In 48 states. It might be in 50. I don't think they're in Hawaii. They might be. But that's a little different. There's a giant company in New Jersey. There's some other companies. One in New Jersey is a regional company. Like in Columbia, you've got veterans loans. I think they're 22, 23 states. They have their own insurance and real estate arm. Their insurance company blowing their mortgage company out of the water because insurance way more money. They're like 22, 23 states. So as they sell their mortgages, what'll happen is they sell the mortgages, they'll sell the insurance policies with it on those. So just be part, and that's just the way to go. There's a lot of real estate companies that have mortgage and title companies in there, or they sell insurance too on the side. So they get paid. There's some companies in Seattle like that were doing real estate mortgages. They had insurance and they were involved in title companies too, and they're killing it. I'm all for it, getting paid, and the owners are just walking they're all, and the owners are just getting super rich, and I'm all for it. I mean, it's totally rad. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I'm all for it. These are areas, just start picking them apart, and you start looking for, especially if you got some cash. Pick up an apartment building, do it. If you can pick up some houses that you can rent or flip, do that. Or you might be able to find a house where it's an older house. You might be able to turn it, downstairs into another apartment out into a duplex, fourplex. Some of these old houses, you can do it. Like in the Seattle area, there's a lot of doing it, or they rent out the rooms. Like there's one part of Seattle called Magnolia. They've got a lot of old big houses there, and I knew that had some big houses like that. They had 15 rooms in a house, and they were renting each room out for $800 a month. Now it's gone up. Now $1,400 a month. Tons of bathrooms and the whole bit, and they have two kids share them, and blah 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 blah. But no debt, so they're just killing it. So if they want to refinance out and take some cash out, they could do it because their homes are worth $1.8 million or $1.7 million. So that's what Grant Cardone's talking about, pulling it out, especially in an apartment building, but you're still making a profit each month. Your bills are getting paid for. If you do your mortgage, your taxes, insurance, your maintenance, going out doing stuff for you. It's just things you have apartment owner, but you're still making a profit. So for it, I'm all for the profit game because that's where it's at. But like I said, I'm going over this on the net of quote unquote these quote unquote gurus. They don't really see. They don't know how to hunt for deals. They're really one sided. They don't talk about commercial real estate. All they talk, you're buying an apartment building, or it's just buying a commercial buildings on this, and the commercial lot is 1.5 acres. But you know where you're building, and basically it has this many bathrooms. The upstairs is 5,000. The next one is 3,800 square feet, but there's another 600 areas and 2 areas that are common areas of 600 square feet. The bottom floor is maybe 500 square feet, and it has just as many bathrooms. Basically, you have this, the HVAC system, or it's just within the last couple of years, so it's pretty new. The roof's been done. It's a flat roof. It costs this to do it. There's some deferred in this. See, these are all for when you buy a property, but you can rent this. You rent the top part for this at let's say, these are low numbers, but let's say you rent $12 square foot on top. It's a space. It's not a Class A space. See, and you have Class A, B, and C. I mean, there's all this stuff when you're doing kind of building than when you're buying an apartment building. So it's like this, it's like this, and they're different inside. Office when I'm watching these gurus, I'm all for it because they're trying to get paid. So yeah, I'm thing is they don't know anything, and they don't even know anything. I mean, yeah, they may know how to do certain things in the house to fluff it up, but I can go to Home Depot, I can go to Lowe's nationally, or I could go to Menards, and I wish they had Menards more in the West Coast, the Southeast, some areas. But if they had Menards in some areas, it would it would be another boost bringing, because they have a lot of stuff that you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot. Anyways, and yeah, you got the Ace hardware stores and all that. They're small, and then you have your local lumber companies that got stuff. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so you're looking at how to understand a house, and they fix it up and snap. But the thing is cost, and you have to look at that when you're fixing up a house, especially if you're going to flip it or you rent it out. Juice it out, then rent it out because the rates are so low. Are you any line on there, or are you just going to refinance? I would just refinance it and pull the cash out. That's it. How much you put down? 3, 5, 10%? Are you going to buy it on a 0 down loan? That's why I get ticked to these gurus that all over, because they don't know anything, and they haven't done squat. So, they don't know a lot of this finance works, because you finance stuff so you can cash. Now, if you got an investor, you're worth millions of dollars, you got cash, no big deal. But even then, I would still want to finance stuff. Or rather, if I was in an apartment building or commercial building, you're still going to put down 20, 25, 30% down. But the least commercially put down 25%, get it financed. You're buying raw land, just you don't buy unless you're going to do something right away. Then you're gonna, great. I wouldn't finance raw land unless you're gonna do something. And that's just one of those. That's just one of those I just kind of bring up. This is something to remember. Raw land, unless it has buildings on it, buy it. Unless it's patented and you're gonna lease it out, or you're gonna put a bunch of cattle on there or horses or something, don't buy it. I mean, no offense. If a hobby farms, usually are anywhere under 10 acres generally. And where I live, there's tons of hobby farms. There's tons of farmers around here that owns, thousands and thousands of acres, and they've got cattle up the kazoo. It's kind of like in Nebraska. If you go by I-85, Nebraska and I-85 East, you'll see these giant cattle farms that just go on beyond the eye. Can see a whole different ball game. So anyways, when you're now, there we go. Sorry, one of my streams was acting retarded. So it's anyways, so what I'm saying to you is, when you're hunting for deals, the bubble's going to burst down the road to be able to buy. And so I'm pointing all these different areas out and areas you can start hunting for to buy. If you know business want to sell a building, or especially an apartment building, you might be able to get a deal way off market. That's a deal, because those off market deals are awesome. These are things you need to look at as an investor or real estate agent too. You need to start looking at money, because the problem is a lot of these real estate agents are very limited. The problem is a lot of these agents work in these offices where they only do residential, very much commercial. The broker that runs the office or the company, just to say the office, a broker doesn't know a damn thing about commercial. They don't know anything about commercial. All they know is about residential. But they're being one-sided. So that stuff gets pressed away for the agents to be one-sided. If you're in an office like that, you need to bounce. And also, too, if you're not 100% agent, you need to go to 100% office that's an independent office, and stay away from the franchises, so you don't have to pay the NAR fee, the Association of Realtors. I have to pay them $7 a year, whatever. I was at a couple franchises, and I paid that. No, I'm out. Sorry, not going to do it. Your giant fee. They've got they have their lobby up there and blah 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 blah. I still don't like paying. I don't want to pay it. So, anyways, I would bounce out of there. If you're not 100% shop, leave. Leave, unless you really like your franchise. You go to 100%. Then, Corey's different. How they charge fees as far as doing that, and there's a lot of franchise companies, but that's just me, because they're just like all the rest. They don't train their agents. Generally, an independent shop, you'll generally a little more training than a franchise, but not much. So these go a little off topic here, but I get ticked off because a lot of these agents Joe Stump was talking about that. They don't have the skill sets. A lot of the agents now, because the markets are higher, they just don't have the skill sets. He knows. The guy lived in San Diego for a long time. Now he lives in Northern California, but he knows it's kind of the same up there too. But he talking about this 3 or 4 months ago, and we're watching a video. He was talking about it, and he's right too. Big hosts talk about it too, like Mike Ferry's talked about it. Tom, besides talking about Dean Jackson's talked a tad bit. I've talked about it a little bit when he had his forecast. Kinder Reese haven't heard much come out of or Haas Pratt, but Haas Pratt, I already mentioned something about it a little while ago. So, and those are kind of the big players right now in the in basically kind of what's going on right now in the markets. Tom Ferry, Tom Ferry's brother, I think it's Brian, training for a long time too. Already knows everything. He's an agent too, down in San Diego area. But they've kind of talked about it too. They don't know anything as far as not well trained enough. But I'm saying to you, as an agent, don't be, and and if your broker's telling you this is stupid, don't do it. Either question them or walk. Don't be a partner. You're working with an agent. Make sure the agent's not one-sided. You know what I'm saying? A lot of good agents will have a lot of off-market deals sometimes, but sometimes they're gone. And that's it. Even though agents that work high-end stuff is that market you're trying to hit. But like I said before, the high-end stuff has limits, because when the market crashes here down the road, the high-end stuff's going to get scoop cash because they're going to take big hits, and there are a lot of closure like they did before. And it's just the way it's going to happen. Now, certain areas is going to be pretty. The problem is even the people that are buying the homes in the big areas, they're not always buying cash. They finance too, because they want some type of, which doesn't really not there. Some still finance. They don't want to burn all their cash out and buying a property. So it's give or take. But like I said, when you stuff, if you buy it in a good area in a high level and you can make money on it, go for it. You need to do it. So I mean, look at Owen just bought a $40 million property in Malibu, but banking on it too, because he's too smart. He's banking on it that it's going to probably double in price down the road, which it will, located on the 101 in Malibu. It's right on the water and all that cool stuff. So, down there in areas that'll stabilize. There's going to be a lot of bankruptcy, because see, a lot of those foreclosures, because a lot of those people that do it on the hill, so they're buying it on credit and blah blah blah, and they don't, and so they'll pull out, declare bankruptcy, and the home will go into foreclosure. So there'll be opportunities, but in the mid markets, that's where the real juice is at. You can pick up more property, 60 cents on the dollar. I remember it happened to that. So if you're an investor looking for deals, these are things you need to start thinking about as far as that goes. The only problem is the finance this time when the bubble burst. It's not going to be the same as it was before. The reason is because even though they've tightened up a lot, remember the hedge funds and stuff that are doing the government-backed loans, they're only insured 20%. So if the government just keeps printing cashola, it just gets worse. Inflationary pressures, things you can't control, and those explosive stuff you're not going to control. And you have the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in Chicago. It's controls a lot of the agricultural prices, and that's getting really ramped. That's another issue that just implodes into the other. And the other one where people are buying bonds for all kinds of different stuff, and corporate bonds are totally out of control. And everyone knows this because there's been articles on my Facebook pages about it. And so before, if you're an investor or real estate agent, if you're an investor buyer, there's opportunities out there. And you can do it. And so you need to start looking at these opportunities. There's a lot of ways you can work it. And time to do it. If you have a good in different areas, cool. It might be able to help you find some stuff. But these are just things to start looking at, because the markets are going to start cooling down, and they're going to start cooling down a lot here pretty soon. The nature of the and you don't know what they're going to do, or the House or Senate or the White House or whatever, and so you have no idea, and it's hard to predict. But looking for certain signs in the bond market one, because the stock market doesn't reflect reality. It just doesn't. I mean, there's been a ton of articles in the last 3 months about it. It just doesn't, because it goes up and down. But the bond market can really hit, because you have all this debt not covered anywhere. So it's just boom, it's explosive debt. There's not a lot you can do. I mean, a lot of the big, huge Fortune 10,000, they're all in the stock market. There's a lot of those companies that float a lot of debt, get away with it, and they can use the cash, even though they don't need it. They can still float a lot of debt, save their other cash. But even when that's out, too, because the stock price gets hit. So, and this is a real basic rudiment, but that's the deal. But you as an investor, on the other side, for a big investor, these are things you start looking at to start picking the stuff apart. It goes down, and the prices start, the market start dropping. Then you're looking at to get houses and apartment buildings and start renting them out. And that's kind of what you want to do. And if you have a house in an area where there's a lot of people living, you can still take that house, maybe able to divide it up into a 4-plex, 5-plex, maybe. Maybe you can add more rooms, or you can convert some rooms to rent them out as rooms. It's another way to make money. Or you might turn it into a daylight basement rambler, or 2-story in the basement, and have a triplex, build it out, and have 3 different apartments in there. And that's the way to make money on top of it. Like I said, houses turn into more units. Just depends how big the house is. And if you got some cash, or it's another way for you to make money, especially in higher end areas, cities where it's expensive. You can go and get those rented out pretty quick. When I know some people in Seattle, they've got 7-bedroom house. They have their bathroom. They're renting the other 6 bedrooms out for a month, and they're making it, and it pays their mortgage off, and they still have some profit after they get done. They're doing it. San Francisco's the same way. Cisco, you used to hear stories. They're just doing the stuff. They've been doing this for years. They have a big house, and they're used like they do in those dividers like they use in office buildings for offices. They have these dividers. You got houses that do that in San Francisco. You might get 30 people in a house, and they're charging $1,600 a month, $1,500 a month for dividers for you to have your bed and just your little cubicle, and that's it. And they've added 4 or 5 in the house, so you have all. So you got all the cubicles. You got 30 people living in the house, and it's true, and they still do it now because of the high price of real estate. But owners, I mean, they got them house because it's so big. They have a 6,000 square foot house, 5, 6, 7 square feet a house, and they basically get it. And they subdivide it up, and they've got it's a multi-level, and they're making money hand over fist. They've owned the property, they've owned it for a year, and they're just killing it. And they're $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month just on a house because they have 30 people living in it. 5 people, and the city doesn't give a damn. They get a special permit, and they just do it. Some don't even tell the city, they just do it. And city looks the other way, and they're just, there's money to be made everywhere. But these are things you look for as an buyer investor. If you're a real estate agent looking for more deals, and these are just ways to build different streams of income, and you start looking for it. So if you got any questions, go to nickforecast.com. You can ask me any questions, subscribe, and we'll hit you back again. Have a good day.